Yeah, and we all know what this game means to the 49ers. I'm curious what it means to you, and who do you think it means more to? We saw, uh, what's my guy, the pass rusher? He was talking a little bit. Debo was
Yeah, Reddick.
talking. Yeah, Reddick, Hassan Reddick was talking a little bit about the game coming up. Debo and Trent Williams are saying, and Jesse and I was going to talk about this later about how it's not a revenge game. That's what they said, at least, and
Yeah.
Jesse and I will cover it. But what does this really mean to the Eagles, and who do you think this game means more to?
You know, to me, it means more to the fan bases than the actual teams, right? It feels like the fan bases on Twitter are going back and forth since the NFC title game went ahead and ended. And it's, the same argument that it was a couple of months ago was, well, if we would have been healthy, we'd have beat Philadelphia. And the Eagle fans come back and say, yeah, but your defense still gave up 30 points and Brock Purdy didn't play on defense. And it just goes back and forth. I think it matters a lot for San Francisco just to prove that they can beat Philadelphia, because I get the whole Purdy argument. And sure, Purdy stays healthy in that game. Is it a massive blowout? Probably not, but I was at that game, and it did feel like the Eagle offense was having their way, especially in that second half against that 49er defense. And so for me, San Francisco has to prove to the rest of the world, yes, we can crush Dallas. Like, we have no problem beating Dallas in a divisional round. But if we have to go to Philadelphia at the Link in January, we have to be able to beat the Eagles in order to get over this NFC title game hump. The Niners, for whatever reason, have never been able to do it, at least the past couple of years. Philadelphia fans, they just want to prove that Brock Purdy or not, the Eagles are a better team. And as an Eagle fan, as someone who covers Philadelphia, I think the Eagles are. I think that Brock Purdy has shown you, at least during the couple of games this year, that unless he has a lead, unless he has things going perfectly for him, unless all of his weapons are healthy, if he starts trailing, that passer rating is what? Worse than the National Football League? It feels to me that the Eagle fans just want to prove NFC title game wasn't a fluke, and the 49er fans are trying to prove that, hey, we can get past Philadelphia when we play them in the NFC playoffs, not if we play them in the NFC playoffs, because regardless of who wins this game, this feels like the inevitable NFC title game matchup. I mean, it's either Eagles going to Levi Stadium or the 49ers coming to the Link in late January to decide who goes and plays the Chiefs or Ravens in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's interesting because you kind of brought up Dallas in there, and I think when the 49ers played Dallas week 5, I said Dallas has to win this game.
Yeah.
Psychologically, they need this game. There's no way that they can lose again to a team that put them out of the playoffs 2 straight years,
Right.
and have confidence going on the road in the playoffs in San Francisco. Is just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, the 49ers boat raced them. I think with the Eagles, because they've played 2 years in a row now, the 49ers won the first one. Different teams, obviously. The teams have changed a lot in 2 years. They did lose last year without their quarterback. I don't know if psychologically the 49ers need this to get over that hump. But what I will say, Thomas, is that they need that bye week. In my opinion, that bye week is so important for both of these teams. We see that Philadelphia, when you make multiple runs deep into the playoffs, and you've got a team that has a lot of star players that are 30 and older, they need that rest. They need that bye week. It was very crucial for the Eagles to get it last year, and they were able to get it and ride that to the Super Bowl. The 49ers, I believe, have ran out of steam a little bit the last couple runs that they've made. And if they have to go 12 straight weeks, let's say, after a bye week, just to get there, I don't like their chances on the road in Philadelphia. But if they can get that number 1 seed, I love their chances, because that bye week, I believe, is so crucial to the 49ers. So I agree. I think this game is certainly more important for the 49ers.
Well, it's not just the fact that you get the bye week, you get the time off, which Philadelphia used for Lane Johnson and Jalen Hurts last year, as you just mentioned. It's the ability to not play the third best team in the NFC. And we're going to see by the end of this season, is it Dallas? Is it the Detroit Lions? 4 weeks ago, I would have said Detroit. Now I would say Dallas, but you don't have to play them, right? Philadelphia will either play the Dallas Cowboys in the divisional round, or the Niners will play the Dallas Cowboys in the divisional round. And you're looking right now, if you're the 1 seed in the NFC, you're playing what? The Falcons? You're playing the Seahawks? You're playing the Saints? Maybe the Vikings? Like, it feels like a cakewalk. And you think back to last year, Philadelphia, and I was at the divisional round game. It was against the New York Giants, and the Giants had just beaten the Vikings. And it was like, ooh, maybe Daniel Jones is good. But we all went, wait a second, Daniel Jones isn't that good. Like, they should get crushed by the Eagles. And the Eagles rolled them. I mean, the game was over by halftime, and you could seemingly rest your players, as the Eagles did eventually in that game, and then focus in on the 49ers. You basically have to win one tough game, and you're in the Super Bowl. Now, both the games are at home, but that first game should be pretty easy, depending on who you play. And then you have the one, tough one against the Niners, who have just come off of a big game against either Dallas or Detroit. And so that bye week is going to be crucial. And the same goes for the AFC. I mean, if you have to go to Arrowhead if you're Lamar, versus make Patrick Mahomes go on the road for the first time in his career in the playoffs, go to M&T Bank Stadium, it's a complete game changer. And so while the Eagles win last week, I'm sure Niner fans were frustrated about that because Buffalo almost had us and you could have really, set up a chance for the Niners to take the 1 seed after a win this coming Sunday. If the Niners win, all they got to do is hope that Philadelphia fumbles on the road against the Cowboys the following week, which they've struggled historically the past couple of years. And the Niners could be in that 1 seed and, like you said, have a much higher chance of going to a Super Bowl because they at least get to play that game at home.
Yeah, most certainly. And that's the crazy thing. Philadelphia, it's interesting because coming out of the bye week, I said if the 49ers go 7-2 down the stretch out of the bye, beat Philadelphia, I think that might be enough for the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Looking at Philadelphia's schedule, since then, they've won 2 of those games that were potential losses. And now, really, the 49ers have to go undefeated, in my opinion, if they want the number 1 seed, because beating Philadelphia and losing a game is not going to work. If they lost to the Ravens 2 weeks later, Philadelphia is still likely going to get the number 1 seed. They just are. The one loss that they have, or 2 if they lose to the 49ers, I mean, that's crucial. That 3-game losing streak for the 49ers might come back to bite them in more ways than one. And hopefully it doesn't, but we will see. They need some help other than just beating Philadelphia. It's not in their hands the way it is for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. If Philly wins on Sunday and then they beat Dallas the following week, the 1 seed is virtually locked because the Eagles finish up the final 4 games, Seattle, and then they played the Giants and then the Cardinals and then the Giants again. And by that point, Philly could be resting people, week 16 and week 17 or week 17, week 18 against the Cardinals and the Giants. But if the Niners win, it doesn't guarantee it, but at least it makes it still a possibility because if they don't, it's going to be really, really tough as long as Philadelphia doesn't have a hiccup against Danny DeVito or, I guess, Geno Smith.
Definitely. Well, before we get you out of here, Thomas, I got to know, what is your score prediction for this game?
I haven't thought about this yet. I normally give those on my Wednesday live show with my buddy Josh Davis.
We won't tell anybody.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it depends on weather. If it's raining, maybe it's a little more of a drag out fight. I do think that the 49er offense can move the football in this Eagle defense. I mean, most people have been able to do so, except for the Chiefs in the second half a couple of weeks ago, but Kansas City's had their troubles. I'm going to go 24-20 Philadelphia. I think it's going to stay closer. I'd be very surprised if the Eagles rout the Niners, although Eagle fans are dying for an Eagle blowout win. We basically haven't had one all year long. We struggled against the Niners, and the Cowboys came down to the wire. I mean, the last 3 weeks have all come down to the wire. So I don't think we get the blowout, but I think Philadelphia hangs on. I think the emotions are going to be very high in this game. And Brock Purdy, listen, give him credit. He's got a big chance and a big opportunity to change a lot of doubters' minds because it feels like you're either Brock Purdy is the greatest thing since sliced bread or Brock Purdy is a product of the Shanahan offense. And those two kind of battle each other over the course of this season. If he goes into Philadelphia and beats a 10-1 Eagles team and looks good doing it, then I think the Brock Purdy haters are going to quiet down a little bit. But if he struggles, then I guess you guys have to break that down on your show the following day.